Hello everyone, and welcome to my 100-day project, day 22. We are on our second day of oil, and I'm using the same palette that I did yesterday. So I'm just picking up the mixes that I already had. And when I approached the painting today, I really wasn't sure what I wanted to do. So I'm just making marks, and eventually something will emerge. And as I was making these marks, I started to notice, the part that I haven't painted, the negative space, looks like a figure to me. And so I just started to pull that out. And I'm using the phthalo turquoise, the pyrrole red, pyrrole orange, Persian rose, green cinnabar light. I don't think I really tapped into that much today, but it was probably in a mix that I already had. Titanium white, the bismuth yellow. I think that's it. So very much a primary palette, warm and cools of most of the colors. And I'm just sort of pulling things out and seeing where it goes right now. I'm still using that filbert brush, which I forgot to look at what size it is. It might be a 10, and it's a natural bristle hog hair brush. And then I've got my small flat, and then I brought up a synthetic, and it is a flat brush. I think it's a 1/2 inch. It's sort of my go-to size, so I'll bring that out here in a moment. But as I was starting to add some definition and shape to this figure, I kind of saw a heart, and I just went with it. I had a moment earlier today where I was watching reels on Instagram after eating breakfast like I do, and I just got sucked into a story about heated rivalries. So this is a series on HBO Max, and it originally started on a network called Crave, and then they brought it onto HBO Max. And it's a love story about two gay hockey players. And it's really brought a lot of attention to what people have experienced playing the sport, and trying to have relationships and be their authentic selves. So someone had posted about their experience and how much that meant to them. And it just really got me emotional. And I was telling my husband, he came in and he's just looked at me, and I'm like, yeah, I have a high degree of empathy, and it's easy for me to feel what people around me are feeling. And sometimes that's hard. It's hard, especially when you can't really control it and you just feel the feels. And one of the things I've learned over time is to feel it and let it move through me and not shove it into my body. That's a place where in the past I would put feelings that I didn't want to feel or that I was done feeling. So I'm a work in progress in letting those things pass through me. And so as I was painting this today and I saw that heart, it just really resonated with me about feeling and empathy and what it means to be human. So she's got a big heart. And instead of wearing it on her sleeve, it's pretty much her whole body. So what you see me do from here on out in the painting is adjust values. And I'm kind of playing with this idea of shape for her. And the right side of her shape looks like it reads fairly well. I'm adjusting where her waist is and things like that. The left side, it just sort of is this big heart shape. And so I play with it a little bit. You'll see me adjust it to see if I want to bring it in, make it a little bit more realistic. And I end up going back and just leaving it kind of this big heart, and not worrying too much about whether or not it makes the shape realistic or not. That's not really what this painting is about. So, yeah, most of my decisions at this point are done, and I'm just making some adjustments to values. This paint is super shiny in the light, so I hold the panel up for two reasons. One, so I can see, because the glare is pretty bright, my light source is from the left and a little bit to the side and above. You can tell from the shadows. So it's hitting all the glare on the top of that painting. So holding it up helps me get rid of the glare, and it also helps me see the proportion better. So I'm not creating really, really long figures unintentionally. I'm just adding in more of that pyrrole red. I didn't put out any more solvent-free gel. Yesterday I mentioned that I thought maybe I had too much gel going in some places, and the paint was a little smoother in some places than I wanted. So I didn't add any new gel. I'm using the paint that's on my palette, honestly. So I'm just using what's there. And in places like on her face where I want to get a little bit more chunky paint, I went straight into that paint, and it worked a lot better for me. So loading my brush up a little bit more heavily and letting more of the thicker paint show up really, really worked. I'm not worried about fat overlean. I'm painting these alla prima, which means all in one setting. So I'm not worried if it's thick, thin, how much gel I'm using, how much I'm not. It doesn't matter because these are all going to dry at the same rate because I'm painting them all in one session. So here's where I'm deciding, do I want to bring it in? Do I want her to have a shape there and look more like a body? And immediately I'm like, nope, that's not where I'm going. It's not what I want. This is that synthetic brush. It's from a brand called Aspen. And I was interested in trying it because I do like the hog hair. I like the texture that the hog hair creates. So the synthetic is a little bit smoother, and I wasn't sure if I would like that or not. But so far, so good. It's working great. Synthetic brushes, when you use them with oil, you want to make sure you're getting a kind of synthetic brush that is meant to be used with oil paint and solvents. So even though I'm using solvent-free gel, I'm using a brush cleaner to clean my brushes at the end of the painting session. And it's by Chelsea Studios, and it's their branded brush cleaner. They have like a lavender spike oil, which is meant for mixing into your paints to thin them. But the brush cleaner is just meant to be brush cleaner. It doesn't have solvent in it. It's essential oil based, but it's still flammable, so you still need to keep that in mind. And sometimes synthetic brushes can be damaged by those types of materials, solvents in particular. So you just want to make sure if you're using a synthetic brush with oil paint that you have one that's okay to use with solvents and the types of materials that oil paints often work with. And this one is, so I'm not worried about it. And most modern new brushes are like that, but it never hurts to check, especially if you've had brushes in your collection for a while. I mean, I've had these oil painting brushes for, probably 10 years now, at least. So if you take care of your brushes, they'll last you a lifetime potentially. At this point, I'm just adding in a little bit of that pinkish orangey red color into her dress just to have a bit of cohesion there. I really like the line that's bringing the eye up from the bottom of the painting, or from the edge of the painting into the figure and up into her face. She's sort of looking up at the light and kind of taking it all in, really. I also used this small brush and the handle of it to scratch into the paint. So when I get close here, I'll show you. I love to do those sorts of marks, especially when I have very simple backgrounds like this. I just like the texture and the movement that creates. It helps break up any of those big solid shapes that might be there in the background. I really didn't think this needed a lot going on in the background. This was really about the emotion and the heart and being true to yourself. So that was day 22. Thank you all for joining me. I hope you're doing well, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks. Bye.